The Demeter project was an extraordinary project. It's an aspect of Prime Cut's work that has really developed over a number of years. It takes an extraordinary amount of commitment for the participants to come every week to workshops, to be pushed out of their comfort zone, for their ideas and perceptions to be challenged. But I think the investment of our core team in terms of bringing everybody together pays profound dividends. That extraordinary thing that happens when people come together to make a piece of work that kind of changes you forever, and certainly some of the feedback that we have had from some of the participants has been extraordinary, really.
The project itself was about bringing groups of women together to kind of look at Belfast over a 100-year period, really, and the changing role of women in the city, or their influence on the city and the fabric of shaping the place and the time over that entire span. So we brought together 4 different groups of women from the ages of 14 up until about 85 to kind of explore their own lives, their mothers' lives, their friends' wives, their neighbours' lives, their, all of the kind of fabric of people that they knew. And we positioned it within the Northern Bank building in the centre of town because we wanted a very neutral, iconic building that would house the entire project. Diana worked very closely with them at that stage, being interviewed and
collecting their stories, like Louise said, their mother's stories, their grandmother's stories. So looking at real stories and experiences that actually happened in Belfast through generations of women. There were group interviews, there were individual interviews. We
house calls
within the community centres and asked people to tell us their stories. We went out to individual homes and we recorded everything. We have video, audio, we transcribed them, and then they're all online and available to the public.
And physical and dance as well. Mm-hmm. I suppose the way to describe it easily to someone who hasn't seen it is, if you get the idea of a pub crawl, this is a play crawl. So you're walking from place to place, encountering different people at different times and different times of era, like at different times of the night or the evening as it goes on. One of the rooms was a safety deposit room, whereby there was 100 safety deposit boxes in which we created tiny museums of me. So there was 100 different museums kept in that little tiny space, but it was active with a live performance as well inside it. So there was also a tea party that everyone attended at the end as an audience, where they came down to set for a table that was set for high tea, with their names waiting for them to have tea and scones, and they became the performers for the next group of audience who were coming through. So that was a really important thing that we wanted to try and set up. We started by playing a game of bingo. It's a game of chance where your number came out and you go wandering through. You enter into an old mill, you go through the Blitz, you go into an actual bomb shelter, you walked upstairs, you were put to bed and someone sang to you. And there was lots of different experiences, very tactile, very holistically involved with the stories.
All of the senses. There was quite a bit of sound as well. I mean, you received advice from more than 30 women and girls, advice that their mothers and grandmothers had passed on to them, that they then passed on to the audience. And then the audience had a chance to then pass on a piece of advice
to each other and to the cast.
I think in terms of achieving the Inspire mark, it was a real acknowledgement for the company, of course, but for the participants. I think it made them feel acknowledged and special, and that there was something about the involvement in the project that was bigger than the sum of its parts. The public perception of the piece of work was incredible. It reached beyond its parameters, which is what we try to achieve in our community engagement work. And I think that's probably where the vision of professionalism, professional artists come to play, in that first and foremost is the experience of the participants in a long-term way, but the end result is a really beautiful, engaging piece of art.